Right. Ready to go?
Yeah.
Let's rock.
Okay.
Three, two, one.
Hi guys, welcome back to Bar Exam. I'm Allie Rayner and I'm here with the Bar Exam crew. We got Eric G in the building. How you doing, Eric?
What up, y'all? What up?
What up? We also have Shane G in the building. What's up, Shane?
Big Shane G, Big 38. Let's go.
Hey, big 38. Shout out to Shane. He did just have a birthday. And then we also have Mr. Marcus TV in the building as well. What's up, Marcus?
What's going on? Oh,
What's up?
my head chopped off. Okay, dang.
There we go. We got to see all of you. All right. So, welcome on back, guys. This week was a little bit crazy. So, we have plenty to discuss. Okay. So, there's plenty coming to the bar for us to talk about today. But remember, we want to hear from you too. So, make sure you guys are commenting. We want to hear from the jury. Okay. Now, let's get on into it. So, what's coming before the bar today is Nicki Minaj ranting and raving about Rock Nation, Jay-Z, SZA, TDE, and the list goes on. So we're definitely going to dive into that. Next up, we're going to talk about T Grizzly. He went on Stan recently, and the whole situation is just crazy to think about. So we're going to talk about that. And then last but not least, there's one other. Oh, and Shannon Sharpe. How could I forget about Shannon Sharpe? Shannon Sharpe was making headlines not too long ago because there was an OnlyFans influencer who was coming for. I know I
Not
was so funny.
influencer. Like that's no, call her what it is.
What do I
She
call her? What do I call her?
uh a Law and Order reject. Cause even Olivia Benson wouldn't have believed that girl's story.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's
Bro,
true. So yeah, so his accuser, we'll just say Shannon Sharp's accuser, um, has now settled with him. And so it's looking real weird over there. So we're gonna talk about that as well. Okay. But first we gotta dive right on into the Nicki Minaj situation. Oh yeah. And don't forget to hit subscribe, guys. You already know what it is. But yeah, let's dive on into it. So Nikki recently went on Twitter or X, whatever it is right now, and she was really coming at Jay-Z. I mean, there's a lot of tweets, we can get into it, but basically she was saying that she felt as though he owed her money. She was accusing him of some type of deal with title where apparently she only got $1 million out of like her cut of when he sold title. And apparently she was saying that she's actually supposed to have a lot more than that, like $9 million, something like that.
mm,
Now she's saying that she's owed 100 to 200 million dollars. Um, which I'm not sure how we got from 9 million to 100 million, but maybe the interest is bananas. I don't know. And then she also started blasting Rock Nation CEO Desiree Perez for apparently being shady of handling his daughter's, I don't know, like his daughter's affairs and alleged corruption. I am not really sure. So we'll have to dive into it and maybe the fellas know, but I'm not really sure why she came at Rock Nation or Desiree, um, but I guess we'll find out soon. So, what do you guys think about this whole situation, or where did you guys learn about it?
So this is the funny quote that I read out of all of it. So Nicki Minaj exploded on X, aka Twitter, in early July 2025, accusing Jay-Z of shortchanging her on Stake and Title, the artist-owned streaming service he helped relaunch and later sold to Square. She claims she was told her 3% stake was worth around 9 million but only received 1 million. Here's the funny part, which she sees as being cheated out of $100 to $2 million in karmic debt. What the fuck is that?
Okay.
karmic debt?
Okay.
Karmic debt.
Like
Karmic debt.
karma?
Yes,
Yeah.
like as in you did something wrong. So in order for you to have good karma, you need to pay me $200 million instead of the nine that I say that you owe me so that you can have good karma. That's how
So
I'm
okay,
interpreting that.
just so I'm clear, the
Mhm.
nine the 3% that she owned, she believes she was entitled to 9. So it should be a $9 million settlement. And now we're jumping from $9 million to 200 because that's the $180 million. $190 million of karma.
Correct. That is what Nicki Minaj is saying. Yes, sir. You got it 100% right.
Okay. So Nick, this is where I'm gonna go with this. Nicki is becoming more famous for crash outs than music.
Yeah.
But
I feel like it's been that way for a little while now.
It is, but it's like solidified now.
Yeah, it was always debatable. Like,
Mhm.
is she crashing out or was she drawn? Is that what it was always kind of like a fine line a little bit. Just kind of if you had Nicki hate, if you will. If you didn't like Nicki, it wasn't no crash out. If you like Nicki, it was valid. This is a crash out. And I don't know why Nicki's crashing out like this. I do not know her significant other, aka her husband.
You talking about Petty, who was a convicted sex offender and has to register everywhere and can't even pick up his own kids from school? That nigga?
Yeah, that nigga. So I wonder, because first of all, you don't never want to put no jacket on nobody. But could this be a Whitney Bobby Brown situation where Nicki is just crashed out because of her proximity to this chaos?
I'm willing to jump out the window and say yes. I'm willing to jump out the window and say yes. I'll be the one. You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to jump out there because
possible.
Go ahead, Eric.
It's very possible because you kind of just look at the correlation and timing of when all these crash outs kind of started happening and in relation to when he really became heavily involved in her life.
It's all around the same time. That's why I'm willing to jump out there and say, yes, I never thought about it, but once you put it in my head, Marcus, that's what it is. I'm willing to go there until proven otherwise. They are having a Whitney Bobby moment. This nigga's ill. We already know that. You know what I'm saying? Nicki's public crash outs definitely started after she got with this nigga. Before that, it was few and far between. So either he's pumping her chest up to make her feel brave enough to say crazy shit that, maybe because he's got people behind him and she feels protected, or it's a Whitney Bobby thing and they just crashing out together.
I mean, it definitely seemed like a crash out, but it also seems like there's like we were talking about, like the karmic debt thing. I feel like there's so many layers of like personal shit that she's not explaining to us. You know what I mean? Like, I think that to her, obviously, it makes sense because she knows the whole story, but we don't fully know. Like, okay, so for example, because I had to look back up and like, see like what her problem is with Desiree. And apparently she thinks that Desiree is like doing some shady shit in the industry, like behind everyone's back. And she apparently is like, okay, so Desiree used to be an informant for like the FBI or something. So I guess so I guess a federal case came up in which Kenneth Petty, Nicki's husband, was also brought up. Like his name was brought up in the case. And it seems as though like Nicki blames Desiree for him being brought up. Also, she's saying that like Desiree was blackballing her and manipulating her. So I did misspeak earlier when I said like I thought it was something to do with like Jay-Z's daughter or something like that. No, that was completely wrong. She has a problem with Desiree because she feels as though that Desiree came for her husband, her family. Now because Desiree is, I don't know if I can say exactly employee, but sort of an employee of Jay-Z. I guess she's just like, she's pissed off at him for she thinks that he owes her a bunch of money. Pissed off at Desiree for bringing up her family. Like and then there has to be something over there with TDE. So she definitely looks crazy. Don't get me wrong. I definitely think that she's acted erratic ever since she got with Kenneth. But I think that she just isn't fully explaining everything. I feel like she's sending so many subs to people. And it's like, bitch, what are we going to do with this? Like, you could just text them because I don't know why we're in the middle of it. But people are also accusing her of substance abuse because she's acting so erratic. So I just think that it's really hurting her
That's what I'm
image in
saying.
general to act like this.
That's the Whitney Bobby thing right there, and that's where I'm like, yeah, I could see that. Like, and then here's where, so you had the pieces correct. You just didn't put
Okay.
the puzzle together correctly. So here's what happened with the daughter situation.
Yeah, I'm
So
confused.
Nicki alleges that Rock Nation and CEO Desiree Perez engaged in shady tactics, sabotaging her career and blocking releases, years of interference and keeping her from her audience, and here it goes, wiretapping and planting listening devices, accusations that were tied to a lawsuit filed by Perez's daughter over surveillance.
Oh, God, it was
So it's her
Perez's
daughter.
daughter. God, because I was looking like, Nikki ain't got no goddamn kid. Okay, I mean, not no daughter. She has a son. But okay, that makes sense. Got it. Got it. Got it.
And then
Got
the
it.
last thing I want to touch on, just because, Ricos are a big thing right now. Young Thug, we just went through it. Big U and them out in Cali. Uh, you know what I'm saying? Who else? YFN Lucci, he had a Rico. I think there's some Ricos going on in New York right now. So this is the Rico season. Lil Durk, we know about his situation. This is Rico season. So Nicki's playing into that too. Nicki is suggesting that there's more than just a personal beef. She's hinting at criminal enterprise behavior within Rock Nation. By claiming organized sabotage, wiretapping, intimidation, and career interference, she's painting Rock Nation as not just an unfair party, but a potentially racketeering style operation. That's what opens the door to RICO. If authorities find rock solid evidence that Rock Nation operated as a coordinated criminal entity affecting multiple people, then they could investigate them under the Racketeering, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act. So basically,
Wow.
if they did anything illegal as a group to try to sabotage Nicki Minaj, they could theoretically be hit with a RICO. Kind of like the Diddy situation where it's like they didn't necessarily know they were doing illegal shit. If he was like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, go get a bunch of baby oil. They didn't necessarily know, they probably knew, but they didn't know that those were later going to be used in essays and grapes and etc. You know what I'm saying? They were just buying baby oil for their boss. They technically contributed to a criminal act by doing that. Just like, hey, take Cassie to the hospital. They don't know how those bruises got on her, but they're just going to take her to the hospital because, she's hurt. Technically, that's
Mm-hmm.
not illegal, but if you're covering up an assault that Diddy did on his behalf by taking her to the hospital and all that, then you are
That's it.
participating in criminal organized that even if it's unknowingly. So that's the thing. That's the thing. Like that's where they could get them, but that's where you have one person RICOs, which are rare, but that's why that happens because it's like
Got
one
it.
person that's using his organization for criminal purposes, even if it's unbeknownst to them.
Got it. I mean, do we think there's really any merit for them?
Nah.
Nah.
I don't think it's any merit, and this is unfortunate too in two ways because we're gonna give Diddy grace when I say
Who?
this in a way. So the Diddy trial, right? We've talked about the ins and outs of the trial, like what did he actually do versus what they could prove and what he was charged with. And Diddy's trial was, in hindsight, 2020, more to just expose his dirty secrets versus than to actually convict him of anything. Or we knew he wasn't really guilty of this, but we're going to charge him and, hopefully he'll fold. He didn't fold, so it's more to air out all of his dirty laundry. I don't necessarily know if Nicki has the pull to do that with Jay-Z to air out his dirty laundry in the same instance, only because we found out that the prosecutor who prosecuted Diddy, when she didn't get the convictions on the higher charges, got fired.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So like, I mean, if I don't know any federal prosecutors who are going to fall on their sword for Nicki Minaj.
Especially when the person that you're going at is a federal informant. She's a verified snitch. Like this is facts. This is a speculation. This is 100% known. Like Desiree Perez is a snitch. So of course, if you're around a bunch of rappers all the time and you're around a bunch of, formerly or potentially possibly still street dudes. Like, of course, you're going to probably be moving shady if you're a Fed asset.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So how you going to go against that?
Right.
And I
Exactly.
don't know if you can.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
I
then,
agree.
okay, so that's one portion of it. How did y'all feel about all of a sudden her turning her energy towards TDE, Punch,
SZA,
and
right?
SZA?
SZA, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How
It
did y'all
really
feel about
started
that?
with
It
Punch. It
didn't.
really started with Punch, and then it basically moved on to SZA, which at first I just thought was very, very random. I just did not see that coming out of any of the energy that she was giving out to anybody throughout the past week or anything. Now, going back and doing just a little bit of digging of it, it looks like it could have been something to the effect where Punch allegedly subliminally tweeted something about a song that Nicki Minaj has that he has with another artist, and it was allegedly about Nicki Minaj, and then that moved into Nicki kind of starting to throw subliminal shade towards Punch himself. But the weird thing that I still have been trying to wrap my brain around is where the SZA connection comes in. And the only thing that I could really see is the possibility that they had maybe tried to work together a couple of times in the past, and for whatever reason, it just never worked out. And
Mhm.
there's the rumors that of Cardi B being one of the sources of the reason why we have never seen a SZA and Nicki collab. So that's part of it. But I also just think the timing is off because the last time we heard a SZA and Cardi record was almost like 5 years ago. So I don't know. I just think the timing is still a little off, and it just seems a little too much left field for all of this energy to SZA to just be completely from nowhere if it's not something like that.
I'll throw a
Yeah.
theory out there and y'all tell me how y'all think. I just thought of this right now. So
Mm.
we know how Nicki is when it comes to the people she considers her brothers, right? Lil Wayne, Drake, people like that. Drake obviously just got done taking the biggest L ever to Kendrick Lamar over the last year and a half. It's basically still going on because people are still talking about it. So he goes on tour with SZA. So are we thinking maybe that Nicki is coming to Drake's defense or the defense of Young Money by going at SZA because of her affiliation with Kendrick and thusly TDE?
Mhm. I think that is
That
part
is
of
a
it.
that is a high possibility because we know how Nicki feels about Drake.
Exactly.
Hmm.
It if that is true, let's just say it is, then Young Money, what she has with Drake, because it's not vice versa. Because Drake's team is actually moving a little bit more strategically about what they are saying and what they aren't saying. Nicki's just crashing out.
Right.
And if Drake is allowing her to just crash out for some kind of distraction or validity, or that's worse. It's worse for Drake and stupider for Nicki, because Nicki's gonna lose in this. And we had I wish we could go back to like our show times and see like when we had the Glorilla Cardi conversation, or who needs a hit more, and we had that what the date was on that,
I can
because
tell you. Give me a second.
we talked about how Nicki needed a hit. Like, all
Hmm.
Nicki needed was a hit, and Nicki would be back in the graces of female rappers, and just Nicki needed a hit, not a verse, not a out, like just Nicki needed a hit. And now Nicki is so far from needing a hit right now. like like it's crazy. Like, I honestly think a hit would hurt her more right now.
I was gonna say the exact same thing.
Why?
Right now,
Why would a hit hurt her more now?
Because now
the noise is too loud. The noise is too loud right now. It's too much going on right now. And as much as a hit just in general helps most artists. I think that's why Drake, it's the same reason why Drake kind of needed to take a step back after the Kendrick loss. He couldn't just come right back out with music right after that because that wasn't going to help. And even though we don't look at these two situations in the same light whatsoever, it's not because it's not like Drake was crashing out or anything like that either. However, in that loss to that battle, he was seen as doing a whole lot of goofy moves, things that were deemed as like, all right, Drake, you're still actively posting on Instagram and stories like you didn't lose the battle, like everything is all good again. And it was one of those things where people as fans were being like, Drake kind of needs to go somewhere and like just be quiet for a little bit. And I feel like it's kind of the same thing with Nicki right now. We talk about these Nicki blow-ups, it feels like every couple of months, it seems like now. And I just think that more time away and actually figuring out how to craft it another hit and then actually doing it will be way better received than if she tries to come out with something right now in the midst of everything that's going on.
But what if it's a hit?
That's what Eric said is true. I'm gonna go one step further. I'm gonna say she has a successful hit. I'm telling you, the noise around it is too great because look at the society that we are in, a post Kendrick Drake year one of post Kendrick and Drake, meaning that the world turned on Drake.
So is your argument that she shouldn't drop any music right now at all? Because I understand that argument, but if you're saying she shouldn't drop a song even if it's a hit, I'm like, so are you saying that like the noise would drown out the possibility of it being a hit?
I'm saying that the Nicki haters are unseen. There are the barbs, right? The barbs. Even if the barbs come in at the solid 50% of just being barbed, or the world is still not on Nicki's side. So being that the world, there's still, if 50% are with you, it's 50% against you. But the people who are against Nicki have never said that they're against Nicki the same way that they didn't say that they were against Drake. Like people turned on Drake, and essentially, I'm saying people will turn on Nicki too because look, just kind of look at the social aspect of it. Everybody saw that the Coldplay cam, right, with the seat. That in itself has went viral, that other stadiums now are doing the Kiss cam, calling it the Coldplay cam. 31 major baseball, that's a thing at the baseball games, and there's nothing that you can do about it because it's like, oh, you think he can be like, oh, I'm gonna sue Major League Baseball because they're making fun of me at the 7th inning stretch? No,
I feel you, but here's my issue with the argument is because we've seen people come back with a hit before from terrible circumstances. You know what I'm saying? Allie, Chris Brown, Rihanna, everybody turned on that nigga. He was the worst piece of shit on earth. Nobody wanted to collab with him. He couldn't do an award show. He couldn't do shit. Couldn't tour, nothing. Then he comes out with Deuces. All is forgiven.
Right, but the thing you're forgetting about that, it took time for that. It wasn't like that happened. Well, the same thing needs to be kind of said for Nicki too. Even if it is a hit, there still needs to be some time in between your burnout, crash out, whatever it may be, in between then and the time that you release a hit.
But that's what I'm saying. So you're saying don't release music right now. It's not necessarily hit or not. You're saying the music isn't gonna hit because of everything else, regardless of how good it is. So just wait. Is that what you guys are saying? Because if so, I can rock with that.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. I think so. I agree with that.
I don't think music does her justice right now. Just like I think, I think the bigger story is almost, you could say, the demise of Young Money.
Yeah.
I don't, like I said, it's yet to kind of play out, but I will say this, from the BMF era to present, there has been no greater fallout. Like, of meaning on top of everything across multiple platforms, like, and then for it to all go away. The closest thing we had before was the BMF, right? Everybody was like, oh my God, Atlanta was getting too much money. What a time. You had to be there. It was an error. Now, that's when Meech was locked up. Now he comes home. You think it's this great awakening. Not only is he labeled as a snitch, Little Meech is snitching now. So,
Right.
like, you talk about the BMF was quite possibly the biggest hip hop gangster. Well, no, I ain't gonna say the biggest because the Crips and Bloods will always be bigger. But in the modern era, that's what everyone that is the word assailed, aspired, ascended, aspired. You wanted to be a BMF.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm like. So if you was a YSL, if you was any crew or whatever, you was like, shit, I'm trying to get like Meech was. You know, you are, because you're never gonna say, or you would never say the original Rick Ross, or you know that era was a little different. So you want to get back to BMF, and now you realize that no, maybe you don't.
Right.
So
yeah,
and if that's the fall from grace is what I guess what I was alluding to, from BMF to the Young Money fall from grace. Mind you, Birdman, I believe, is like a $2 billion.
That's how much he's worth.
Oh, yeah, so I want to say that, you know.
At one point, it was something. It was rumored to be something like wild like that.
What? And this motherfucker can't pay niggas? What? Doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's just it. He owns the publishing of a lot of like people, kind of like Diddy was. Like a lot of his greatest artists, I mean, they eating, but they wasn't eating like Birdman.
Right.
60-40 split.
That's why him and Wayne had so many problems for so many years.
Yeah, so yeah. I mean,
I feel like they should be mad at him. Why the fuck you got all this energy for everybody else? I'll be tweeting about fucking Birdman. Baby, my shit. The fuck? Yeah, that's just.
And I mentioned Birdman too.
According to Celebrity Net Worth, Corey, Hay PR, and Blavity News and Entertainment, and 6 other sources, Birdman is worth $150 million as of today.
Okay. That sounds more realistic. Because I'm like, $2 billion, like.
So maybe, hold on. I gotta go find out what
the numbers. Do the numbers. Okay, so
now,
while you're looking,
what I could believe is that he has grossed $2 billion in his lifetime, or in his music career. That makes sense. I could see that because he's been around forever.
With everybody else, not his own.
Oh yeah, no, that's
career.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it includes everybody.
Yeah. I'm just saying collectively everything he's done with Cash Money. If you add all that shit up, it is probably worth $2 billion. I would imagine that's probably.
Yeah, I can believe that.
But just go back to like when did Ha come out? 97.
You know what I'm saying? 98, like, something like that.
So you had Ha, you had Back That Ass Up, which still is one of the biggest songs, you know what I'm saying? So that shit is still generating money.
Be a banger.
He had Number One Stunner, which so many phrases have come from, you know what I'm saying? Like Drop It Like It's Hot. Lil Wayne made that up on that song, you know what I'm saying? Like, what else did they have that was crazy? Number One, well, I already said Number One Stunner. What was the other shit? The other big ass song that they had? I mean, they was doing the movies and shit at the time. They had Rock Ice. They was on the.
So I found the complex in what I saw. It says
go ahead.
Birdman says Cash Money has made over $2 billion just on Drake, Nicki Minaj, and.
Oh yeah, I could 100% see that.
Oh, that's
if you're talking concert, merch, music, and Wayne's whole career, yeah, that seems like a reasonable number. I could buy into that.
Yeah.
It said $2 billion between Drake, Nicki, and Wayne. Baby set around the 55-minute mark. $2 billion, adding hundreds of millions of dollars guaranteed. So Cash Money has made $2 billion off. Maybe that was total just off of that. So
yeah, that makes sense.
You know what's really interesting though that I heard recently, and I did a little bit of digging. So I found out it's actually it seems like it's pretty true. I think it's crazy that we're talking about these numbers, billions of dollars, right? Apparently, the folks are saying, the internet is saying that Nicki Minaj allegedly is like kind of broke right now. Apparently, they're trying to say that she had to do the tour to pay off debts or something like that. Like I guess all of the money that she made from the last tour, she was not able to actually pocket. It was towards whatever she owed, like some debt. I'll look it up again. But
Like
like
taxes.
literally,
That's usually what it is.
something crazy. But I think it was for a deal or something that she did that something like fell through and so she needed to pay that back or something like that. I'll look it up for sure. But because I think she had a deal with some promoter for a concert she was supposed to do or a tour she was supposed to do with them. She never went and did it. So then they were like, well, pay up, sis. Like, it's been a minute. We need our bread. So instead, she had to, apparently. So I guess what she had to do was basically hand over all of the money because they were suing her, that she had to hand over all the money that she made from the last Pink Friday, whatever the fuck, 2 tour or whatever. So I'll look it up, but there's literally like, people found the screenshots of the court documents that show that everything that she's making is going straight to this company. So now it's kind of making a little bit more sense as to why she's like trying to bark up Jay-Z's tree and be like, you owe me $100 million. Because it's like, why did you need, why that number in particular did you need? So I think that there's a lot going on behind the scenes. And the fact that you guys broke it down like that really makes me also be like, okay, maybe there's a little bit more here. Maybe she is losing a lot of money. She is, in debt and like she's just crashing the fuck out. She's mad at everybody. What do y'all think about that?
So I think public wise, there's a level amongst public and celebrity, right? We've always said that. Now is keeping up your quote unquote celebrity status from when you were on top. Let's just say in a year's time, right? You would easily go to the Met Gala, buy a table. You're easily at you're at the Grammys. You're at F1 races. You're courtside here. You're there. Let's just go that if that's 7 events, right? Throughout the year, and it's $100,000 each event. That's including your entourage, hotel stay, food, security, outfit that you decide to wear on said red carpet or whatever. I'm just gonna cap it at $100,000. That's $700,000 in a year's time for you to take pictures and to be kind of relevant. But then you've done that. How long, Shane? Did you find out when we did that show?
January
Of this year?
Yep.
Oh, so I thought it was like at least 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, a year ago. So that's just $700,000 this year. $700,000. Let's just say Nicki hadn't had a hit in the last 3 years. That's $2.1 million of just keeping up appearances.
Now,
Now,
that's why they say, Nick Cannon always said Mariah Carey don't even step out the house for less than $2 million or whatever her number was.
So now you spend $2.1 million and you don't have $2.1 million coming in.
Right.
So that's where I was going with it. I don't think Nicki broke. I don't think Nicki's broke.
She's rich broke.
I don't
right.
What he said, rich broke. I agree. Yeah, I don't think Nicki can keep up with Lil Baby at this point.
Who else can't keep up and is about to lose a whole bunch of money?
The game?
This nigga Shannon Sharpe, dog.
This nigga Shannon.
Oh, yeah, it's a wrap.
Y'all. Okay, yes, let's talk about it. So Shannon Sharpe was accused of, I guess, did she accuse him of sexual harassment, guys? Like, I gotta double check. I think that she
him of rape.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. She accused him of rape. And so she wanted $50 million from this man. Now, at first, Shannon was like, I ain't paying it. I'm letting y'all all know, like, I'm not about to be that dude. I'm not about to go for the okie doke.
The text came out.
Yep.
Yes, they did. And so it's been quiet for a minute. We've all been wondering what's going on. It's been like a month or two, maybe three. And now it's coming out that the case has been settled, but because he paid her off. So we don't know how much he paid her, but it was so handsome that this girl then dropped a notice or a public awareness announcement for everybody to let them know that she will no longer be on OnlyFans. She's going to retire from the game. That's she made so much money, and she, appreciates all of her supporters. Like, insane to me, absolutely insane. So yeah, Shannon definitely forked over a good amount of money. Do you guys think that this is going to hurt his image overall? Like, do you
It
think
already
people are
has.
now gonna?
It already has.
Already
Yeah.
has.
But do you think
Yeah.
it's gonna stick with him? Because I feel like if he had gone to court, maybe we would have. I don't know if it would have been better to hear like more of his side of the story, or if it would have been worse. Because it's kind of like with him settling, it's like, okay, so did you do it? Like, like
That's
before
always
it
how
was a
people look at settling.
question.
But there's definitely two different ways to look at it, from a legal and from a rich person standpoint, right? A lot of rich people just get sued for no reason all the time, right? It's often a lot cheaper to just settle the lawsuit because you know that the person's really just going for a money grab. They might sue you for 20 million or whatever. They don't really want 20 million. That'd be nice, but they really just want some millions. You know what I mean? So you'll settle for 5 instead of potentially losing this lawsuit and having to pay out the 20 and pay your lawyers and probably pay for her lawyers on top of that if you lose. So we're looking at way more money that could potentially be paid out. So oftentimes that is why people settle, even if it doesn't look good. So I do want to throw that out there as a possibility.
Okay, and that's fair.
What I'll also say though is when ESPN cuts you, you can't really get good guests on Club Shay Shay like that anymore. You're not doing a podcast with Ocho Cinco anymore. Like when all of that stuff starts happening, your sponsors are getting pulled, And let's also think about when this is happening. This is fresh off of the Diddy shit. That is super fresh in everybody's mind. Powerful black man just got off. Are we gonna let that happen twice? This is still America. You know what I'm saying? So legally, yes, he's not going to face any repercussions because he paid out the settlement. Lawsuit's over. We're good here. But that reputational damage, huge. Like I don't think he ever recovers from that. To be honest, like
Really?
So yeah,
I don't think so.
agree.
Yeah, not when it's that big of an accusation.
I
and
agree with
in the audio came out that made it sound horrible when he was like, "Yeah, big old black man choking a little old white girl." And she was like, "Shannon, that's not a good look. I don't like that. Don't say that." And he was like, "No, you gon' do it." Blah blah blah. So it sounded like he was forcing her on the phone. Now, granted, this could be some race play, role play, wild bullshit that he's into. Rich people be into some wild sex shit. Also possible. She didn't make it seem like that. Even in that call, she made it seem like, yo, I'm uncomfortable with the way you talking to me and some of the shit we be doing when we together. And he's like, fuck that, we doing it. That was in the audio.
Wow.
So I'm like,
it was in the
you know what I
audio.
mean?
The audio never looked good. Let's also remember, because you said this is fresh off the Diddy shit. No, let's go back a little bit further. This is when Club Shay Shay was rumored to be sold or distributed more for $100 million. That's when this came.
Yeah.
Now I don't.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna say this. I've watched enough Shark Tank to sit here and say, when the sharks are there, they say, "How did you come to a whatever valuation of your company?" And then they will say, "Based on our annual revenue, our sales, and this, and we projected to do this in the upcoming years. That's what we, and that's how we got our market evaluation."
Yeah.
So I don't know the deal of why they thought Shannon Sharpe's show in Club Shay Shay was worth $100 million. I don't know how they came to the $100 million. All we know is that it was $100 million, right? So because it was $100 million, somebody easily said, hold on, Shannon Sharpe, $100 million. We gonna do what? He not worth $100 million. He can't even stand the test of time to do X, Y, and Z 1, 2, and 3. And what happened? Anonymous white woman came out, accused him of a horrendous crime, and it instantly plummeted. It like because no one can stand with you on certain crimes.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
And I mean, God bless friends and circles and everything else, but if you have like if something with a child was ever involved with anyone, like I can support you. I can be like, hey, we're gonna get you a lawyer, we're gonna prove you, I can support you, but I cannot get on any camera and sit there and say, oh no, this, because now I'm supporting you through the accusation. No matter how innocent you become at the end of the day, I have to support you behind closed doors.
I can stand with you once you're innocent, and once it's like it's proven you didn't do it, or to catch the dude who actually did do it, or some shit. No, I can stand with you again, but until then,
I can sit there
I'm sorry.
Say, and you can tell the story. Hey, behind closed doors, the last 18 months, he made sure my mama was this, we was good, we was this, the brand support. You can tell the story post. You can never tell that story pre or even in
during. Hell no.
In real time. So that's my point with Shannon Sharpe. Not only was Shannon Sharpe supposed to take this $100 million contract, he's also slated to be the next quote unquote Stephen A. Smith at ESPN. Stephen A. brought him in to take his place in the reins as the top. We're not talking a personality at ESPN. We're talking the top number one. So you're going to be you're going to be my succession plan. I've done, and we know how Stephen A is. I mean, who's going to take over? Because he could, it was rumored, run in political office or do other things, and he's taking sports commentary. I think he's at his apex. I don't think he can go any higher. There's only thing he can do is go outside of his genre. Like
that's why the only things that go viral of Stephen A now are when he says political stuff. Right. Nobody really, I'm not gonna say nobody, that's not true. Sports fans, people who like Stephen A, they listen to him for his sports opinion still. That's true. New people who are just now becoming aware of Stephen A or like just now starting to listen to him, they're learning about him through politics, through the lens of politics. So
agree.
The newer fans are getting a completely different view and a different version of him than we grew up with when he was just, on ESPN arguing with people.
Agree, 100%. So that's what I said. So Shannon was supposed to be walking through those doors, and then now. That's not even that's laughable at this point.
Yeah.
That's not even a possibility anymore.
And it's laughable to the point from because I'm only looking at it from like a PR and marketing standpoint too of your brand. If you was gonna pay her off, which I'm not saying I'm not against that. You know what I'm gonna need? The apology to be just as loud as the disrespect. Your lawyer we have settled this, and she is deeply sorry to report these false allegations, not mutual allegations, false allegations against my client and this, that, and the third. She was hurt. She wanted this. She got it. What you know what I'm saying? You're going to make it to where I walk out of this not unscathed, but that I did not do what you said I did.
But if that's the point, then you wouldn't settle out. Because I'm coming to you, the whole reason I want, like, if I'm her, and Allie, I really want your input on this, just as far as on some, like, I'm not going to ask you how you would handle it. I'm going to ask you, how do you think these type of things should be handled, I guess, like, because a lot of people are just straight up against the civil route in general. They're like, no, take it criminal. If he raped you, you know what I'm saying? That's a crime. He needs to go to jail for that. Why are you asking for money? So that's one sense. But the other side of that coin is it's a lot harder to prove that criminally, and I need this motherfucker to face some kind of justice. It's a lot easier to prove the case civilly. So even though it's just a money thing, it's still going to hurt him, and I'm still going to benefit in some way because of my pain. So even though you can't necessarily put a dollar amount on it, there is a dollar amount that'll hurt you and help me. So rather than you go to prison, I get some restitution. So those are the two sides of the coin. Like, how do you feel about it?
Honestly, I don't blame women at all, or any victim of a situation like this for going the civil route at all, to be honest, because we've just seen it so many times where, like you said, it's really hard to prove criminally. And even if it is proven criminally, them going to jail does not repair like whatever damage they did to your life, whatever type of therapy you need to now go through, what job opportunity maybe you lost because you couldn't get out of bed or whatever reason, whatever happened to you. So I do not blame women for coming at it civilly. Now, do I think that they could have handled this situation differently before it ever even hit, like, before we found out about it? Yeah, I think he should have been paid her off. I think the moment that he knew that she was coming for him, I think he should have just been like, all right, let's sit down, have the lawyers in the room, we'll settle this out, whatever the fuck we got to do. Whether just because it, like you guys said, it looks fucking crazy, and he sounds fucking crazy, with all the evidence that she had. But I don't think that, like, I don't know if this is going to be the route for everybody, because she also came with money. Like, like if she had lost this, she would have still, I'm sure, would have been
She would
able to
have money
figure out a
still.
way to
Yeah.
pay for the lawyer. Yeah, that's the thing. So that's what makes it kind of hard. It's like, I wish everyone could go this route, especially for people who are really, really victims, but I don't know if it's feasible. So I think that the average person is still going to have to try and get their day in court through a criminal case. I don't really, because that way you don't have to actually send a lawyer in there. The state will take care of it, or whoever's going to take care of it. So it's hard. It's
I'm
tricky.
gonna go real elementary on this, because we into the weeds of the weeds of the weeds in this, right? When you are outside, if you're an inside nigga doing outside activities, right? You got to be outside preparation. Like, so nigga, you messing with hoes. I'm not even gonna say women. You messing with straight hoes because you have a pocketbook that is deeper than most regular dudes. And you act like you're not a target for those funds because you have this pocketbook or this status and you outside. And just like anything else, it's levels to this. Now, was she a $40 chick? Clearly not. But she had some dirt on you that your brand could not withstand. And we've seen it. So without the apology, without the saying that, because I don't believe anyone, woman, man, looks at her as a victim. I honestly do not believe that. Everybody kind of across the board says it was a money grab and this, that, and the third. No one looks at her like a victim,
I mean, it ultimately just depends on if the shit she was saying was true. And we're never gonna find that out because they settled. So that's the thing. Like,
Right.
I withhold judgment because I don't know. Like, I don't know if it was just a money grab, because like Allie said, she kind of had money already. She came into the situation with money. Not as much as Shannon Sharpe, but she had some money. So potentially it's not a money grab until the alleged SA starts happening. You know what I'm saying? It usually isn't a we meet and then I'm immediately, you know what I mean? Like, usually it's like you're getting charmed and you're making her comfortable and the situation is cool, and then you flip. And there's like maybe signs that she's ignoring or whatever, like little, like, oh, he loses his temper kind of quick, but he ain't hit me, so it's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be little shit like that until it goes down, and then it's like, whoa, what did I get myself into? But you 8 months in at that point. You know what I mean? So
yeah, so I've been following Shannon for a while. Like,
there we go.
So let me say that. So Shannon on multiple times on Club Shay Shay, on the Ocho Cinco show, he's gone viral for these sayings and all the rest of this. Like, they were like, because when the first time he went viral was
they say date my age. I say I want to date my wage.
Yeah, and he said, and with the Michelle going Instagram live, and this, that, and the third. She was like, and they was like, nah, you need to get somebody, young. He like, nah, I want that young, that X, Y, and Z, that 21, 25-year-old. That's what he wanted. Now it's a club. No, it's an 85 South skit when they had to do Leland,
Mhm.
and they told Leland with the two girls was next to him what they was gonna do to Leland and how they was gonna turn Leland out because they was on some real sexy red young and dumb shit. You ain't ready for that, Leland. You got a pension. You an old dude. You know they coming after you, Leland. Like you ain't never had one of these girls doing this over here and the other girl doing this over Leland. Like the whole skit was hilarious. But that's essentially what happened to Shannon Sharpe, and he actually sought it out. He wanted that.
Well, you know what that was? That was because, and my man, one of my favorite comedians, his name is Sidney Castillo. He made that joke. He was like, y'all niggas called Shannon Sharpe gay so much that he had to prove that he wasn't gay. And not only did it by accidentally going on live, so then he pulls his phone out of his pocket, drops it on the ground. He looks at an audience member. He goes, "Hey, pick that up. Bet you it ain't on fucking Instagram Live right now." He was like, "So you telling me that your phone accidentally opened Instagram, accidentally then went to live, and then accidentally hit the button that said go live. All of that happened by mistake. And then you all in the phone, Michelle. Oh, Michelle. Oh,
So,
I love it,
hey,
Michelle.
I gotta
all of that. Like,
So
nigga,
many steps you got to take before you even forget even getting on Instagram Live. Opening the app.
There's too many steps that had to happen for that to be a mistake.
Way too
There's
many.
no way. Like,
Way too many.
So let's I want to part two this conversation if we can, or ask the
yeah, I was gonna say I know you got to get out of here in a minute.
I do.
So.
Is being accused of SA and what he was accused of in our community worse than being gay? If that based on that joke, because the joke is funny as hell,
right?
Because it's the stereotypes is already there and it's true. So to prove that I'm not gay, I got to take this $100 million loss, take down my brand, do X, Y, and Z, pay this white lady, do what the fuck?
Yeah, you did there.
He did a thumb.
I got to do all of this to prove I'm not gay because that's worse. Like I can't be gay out here. Shit, no.
Well, to be fair, that joke was in reference to the Instagram Live Michelle situation, that girl that he was having sex with on live. When so that's what the joke was. Yeah. But to your point, I do think there's probably an older segment at this point. Like I don't think people under 40 or under 45 really give a fuck too much. But people over 45 in the black community, we gonna keep it real, are still very homophobic. They're still very transphobic, LGBT phobic in general. I actually don't. I can realistically say that. I don't know, because there's always the joke, everybody got that one uncle that's weird in the family. I honestly can say I don't have any weird uncles. I really can say that. You know what I'm saying? But the stereotype is still there. So everyone, to a degree, does accept sexual assault to a degree a little bit. Because, like, you're not going to stop that weird uncle from coming to the family function. You're just going to keep your kids away from him. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like, but you're not banning him outright from coming to the function. That's really how you would be like, fuck this nigga, we don't rock with you. He wouldn't be allowed at the cookout at all. But instead, you just like what I will say is, and she's never pinpointed anybody, so family, don't ask me who she's talking about. I don't know. But our mom we have pulled up to family functions at different points, and she's like, I'm going to leave my purse in the car because somebody in there might go through it. And she'd never say who it was. She would never say, oh, Uncle such and such is going to go through it, or my brother be stealing, or this cousin is. She's just like, yeah, I'm going to leave it in the car because I don't know, I don't want nobody messing with it. And it's like, well, if it's all family in here, that tells me that that somebody steals. But again, we're not addressing it. You're just saying, I'm going to avoid the situation rather than actually addressing the problem. So with all that factored in a weird way, I do think, yes, like we are more, not we, again, not our generation.
I know what you're saying.
But older black people are kind of more accepting of SA than they are of any sort of homosexuality at all.
So there's this On the Run freestyle. I know she's done the freestyle a couple of times. I don't know the artist, but it's the what's the point? She keeps going in the bars. What's the point of having a baby daddy and this and going? What's the point of that? And what she kept saying? What's the point in making all of these great bars? And she's went viral a couple times doing the same 16 because it hits that hard. Because she had basically. I'm having the same problems that my mama having, but what's the point of talking about it? Because nobody's going to change nothing. What's the point of saying this when nobody's going? What's the point of it? Like she just kept reiterating, "What's the point?" And that shit hits hard because it's actually true, and I've seen it in my family. And when I say this example, me and my wife had talked about this. If you have a young daughter and they say, "Oh, don't wear that. It's men in the house." And then you like, it's a family reunion. Well, hold on.
What are you implying?
In the family, this is a niece. This is a child. This is whatever. Talking about it's man like that. Why are you chastising a child for wearing a 2-piece swimsuit because it's men outside barbecuing and drink? They can't tell that that's their niece or that's their cousin or that's somebody's sister.
Right. It's like, what's the implication that you're saying right there?
I heard, I heard that growing up, clearly not knowing the implications of the Trump, like I was I was a kid, like, oh yeah, you can't wear that, it's man out. Or, like it to other cousins when we were younger. I heard it, but I didn't know what it was in lieu to. Like Uncle Charlie can't control himself. I just thought like, oh, it was just it was one of those. Oh, it's just an elder, and it's just disrespectful to wear that around them.
That's kind of what I grew up thinking it was too, and then it was like, nah, it's more to it than that.
No,
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's a bigger umbrella in the community or a bigger problem that we have where and other communities have other problems too. I mean, it's not like we the only one that's dealing with this.
Of course.
I mean, To Catch a Predator was nothing but white people. So come on.
I was gonna say we know that ain't the thing.
We know that. Yeah, that there's.
My only point in bringing that up was more so back in those days, like growing up in the 90s, let's say the 90s. Eric, if one of our cousins came out as gay in the 90s, it would have been
the biggest deal in the world.
That would have been crazy to come out as gay in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Because we had some cousins who came out as gay in the 2000s as grown-ups, and they were borderline shunned. You know what I'm saying? Like from the family. Like, so this isn't that long ago. Like the relationships to a degree have been mended because, everybody grows with time and you end up missing your family and stuff. And you're like, all right, I'm going to put that to the side or whatever. But like my whole thing was always like, you can't control who your kids like and who they dislike and all of that kind of stuff. All you can do is accept your kid and just be a loving parent. But that shit wasn't always the case. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think nowadays, like if you were to ask my family, because we have openly gay people in the family and, they still get shit talked about them like behind their back or whatever, but it's not like, you know what I'm saying? As like, oh, you're gay, get out of here. Like, I think it would have been back then. Like, it would have just been a bloodbath in the house. Like, you know what I'm saying? If somebody was gay back then. Whereas now, whereas now it's like the respect is still going to be there. You're still going to, oh, this is my niece. Hey, I love you. Give them a hug, see them on the holidays and stuff. But you might talk shit to, that close family member outside of the family function. You're like, yeah, her little gay ass, blah, blah, blah. That shit is still happening. So we got to get beyond that a little bit. But I do think overall the attitude is changing, like, especially because a lot of us got kids. You know what I'm saying? Like me and Eric don't have kids, but a lot of the cousins in our age group do. They not finna let shit happen to their kids. And we not finna let shit happen to their kids. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're taking that a little bit more serious because some of the cousins in our age group are the gay ones. So we don't give a fuck about that. We grew up with you. You the homie. You know what I'm saying? So it's an interesting thing.
There was a dad, and this is the last thing before I got. There was a dad. Maybe this is before TikTok, so that's how because it was like the Instagram. It was before TikTok. And he comes out and he says he's like, Daddy, no, I think his friend or somebody was there or something. It's like, how you feel about me being, maybe it was him asking his daddy. He's like, how do you feel about me being gay? And he was like, and the daddy on the couch lounging. Like he don't even know he owned the camera type, you know, because he's the son is behind him on the couch. And he was like, you the one sucking dick, not me. Like that was his, and he went back to watching the game. Like that was his,
right, like
that was his response, you know, and that's what made it go viral. Cause he was like, dang, you still my son, you still here, you know, you still
fuck about none of that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I think that I don't think every family is like that because you know, I've learned that there's a difference between acceptance and encouragement. You know, like, so if I was to have somebody gay in my family, like that's whatever, that's you, Brian, you cool, whatever, this, that, and the third. Now you want me to come and address you as whatever, everything that goes along with, whoa, it's too much dip on the chip. Because yes, you can come over to the house, you can do all, you're welcome in there, but I'm not finna be changing how I speak to this on that because it's how you feel and to keep your, not bruh, you over here, enjoy yourself or don't come. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? And
I do feel
not
you.
so
You know
much
how I look
the
at
person,
that though.
it's the
You know how
acceptance of,
I look at that a little different because I understand that because I went through that for a little bit with like, why are you trying to police the way I talk? You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to, but then I thought about it like this. We don't do that in any other circumstance, right? Like if a person grows up Christian and they convert to Islam and they change their name, nobody bats an eye. We're like, all right, you're not Cassius Clay no more. You're Muhammad Ali now. We will call you Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? End of story. Like, some people will have a problem with it, but for the most part, everybody's like, all right, cool. When somebody gets married, change the last name. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, okay, your name's different now. I got to get used to, like with teachers and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I had a teacher, one of my favorite teachers ever. I'm her Facebook friend to this day, her and her husband. Miss Holman was her name when I had her. But she became Miss Robinson before I graduated high school because she married another teacher. That's an interesting transition because I was calling you Miss Holman for years. Now I gotta, in my mind, realize you're not Holman anymore. Now you're Robinson. So I'm gonna, you know, so it's sort of like that in my opinion, where it's like, hey, because what you're talking about usually is for either trans people or non-binary people when they're like, hey, you know, I am using different pronouns or whatever. Like in my mind, I don't understand it. But if I want to be respectful the same way I'd be respectful to a Muslim or a married person, then I'll call you what you want me to call you. I don't have to understand.
A good point.
I'm a little bit more old school.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man.
I agree with you. I do agree. You just in my house. I publicly don't agree. But if I'm where I pay my bills, where I pay, and you're going to come over here, you came over here. That's yeah. It's like so that like I don't have an argument. Understand you like you know what I'm saying? Because
I get it.
Yeah,
right.
I get what you're saying.
So I don't. Yeah. So yeah,
you can get that off a little bit more
fair.
too with family, especially if you're close to them. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
if that's your man's and that's your cousin, you can get to like, nigga, I'm
because
not
all
gonna
of
call
this
you that
other
shit.
stuff,
Shut up.
Right.
Publicly, we take into it's a whole lot more intangible. You know my mama. You know where I come from. You know this, that, and the third. You know a whole like because everything you said in a public setting is absolutely or in a work setting is absolutely true. We talking about my living room, my backyard.
I feel it.
Like I'm a come. You know what, Shane? I've recently become an avid dog lover, and I noticed that your dog food has nitrates, and I don't think that you should be giving your dog nitrate dog food. Now I'm gonna tell you how to raise your dogs because I'm 90 days into this Purina dog food class that I didn't took. And I'm in sitting on your couch behind you telling you this. You gonna vape, you gonna look at me and you gonna be like, you know what, you can get the fuck out of here.
All right, Marcus, go enjoy family time, man. We're going to hold down the rest of the show, bro. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Catch you next week. Follow the
y'all
man
be
at
easy,
Mr. Marcus TV on all social platforms. You feel me?
please do.
Peace.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right, gang. Okay,
Speaking
so
of aunties and uncles and all that.
Yeah.
I can't lie. I do love being like in the auntie era. I can't lie. People make it sound like it's gonna be bad or something. Hell no. I love it. I love being an auntie. I'm like, shit, call me anybody can call me auntie. I don't give a fuck. I'll school everybody. I'll take care of everybody. I
You
swear,
ain't
last night I
auntie
went out.
age yet.
Well, last night, well, yeah, because now that I'm in my 30s, I'm like, last night I went out and just people just being ridiculous, doing stupid shit. Like these chicks try to like cut the line or whatever. There was like 6, 7 people in line front. I was like, come here, come here.
Yeah.
Check out all these people here, okay? Yeah, get in the back of the line, babes. Okay, what did you think this was? Oh, all these people are waiting? Yeah, yeah. Go back to the back. Okay, Auntie told you to get some fucking glasses on and get your ass in the back of the goddamn line. I'm not playing with you. So I love this era. I love it. Because normally it would have been like in the 20s, it would have been like back and forth, whole lot of da. No.
I
Okay.
saw a
They
funny
respect
Just go ahead
aunties.
and get back.
Yeah. I
To
saw
the
a
back.
funny post about being in your 30s. It was like being in your 30s is basically just embracing everything you loved when you were 12 and not being ashamed of it. I was like, yep.
1000%. Not giving a flying fuck. Amen to that. Yeah, I feel that. All right, so we
Yeah.
have to kind of end things though on a darker note, but we got to discuss this. Okay,
Got
so
to.
T Grizzly recently went on the stand and he had to plead the fifth. So basically, what happened was T Grizzly, Detroit rapper, was called to testify in the murder trial of Jermaine Whedon. I guess his you guys his rap names. I don't even know what the hell, like Woo 600 or something. I don't know. Anyway, so this man was accused of being a murderer. He was the one who allegedly shot T Grizzly's aunt, Jobina Brown, in August 2019. And I guess T Grizzly was almost going to be a victim himself. He was in the car as well when it happened. He was actually stepping out when the shooting happened. So thankfully he wasn't hurt, but very, very sad situation. So finally the trial is on its way. It's happening right now. And they had to call T to the stand. Well, a lot of people are giving mixed reviews because apparently he decided to plead the fifth, and so people are not sure exactly like why he would do that. They feel like maybe he's like covering up for this murderer. But I mean, I think that there's layers to it. So I mean, I think on the outside, yes, it does seem very strange, but we don't know. Maybe he's trying to hide something like the street beef that was going on between them. Supposedly there was an attempted robbery. Like it seems like he's trying to protect himself. And a lot of people are like, well, shouldn't you be thinking about your aunt right now? So what do you guys think? Because I don't really know too much about him, but he hails right from your hometown. So let me know what y'all think.
Eric, I'll let you go first, man. What do you think? Because I got a lot to say. So
So based on the early things that I read and just some of the people that were involved in this whole thing, like people that are tied with Lil Durk and their crew, and how a lot of the Chicago gangs kind of intersect with this. I will just say that based on his, and I know Shane's going to get into it a little bit, so I'll let him fully explain it. But just based on him pleading the fifth, the very strange Instagram live that happened the other day, it just seems like all of these things are, and then there's also the other rumors about him and his aunt, which again I know Shane will get to in full, but it just seems like there is a lot of weird shit going along with this case that it feels like T kind of has to answer a lot to. But him pleading the fifth was very shocking. I did not expect that to happen, to be honest with you. Um, and just based off of even the whole story of how it happened, where he was when the shooting happened, him getting out of the car right around the same timing, it's just a lot of weird circumstantial coincidences around this one. So it feels like we need to kind of wait to see what this full story is going to really unravel into. But just based on what I'm seeing on the base surface of it, it doesn't look very good.
So there's a few different angles that you have to look at, right? So the first angle, just the question that I actually asked, to bring this to you all's attention, is should he have said anything on the stand? So there's two different ways to look at that, right? T Grizzley is from Joy Road, which is a notoriously dangerous area in Detroit. It's a very, if you check out my documentary, we drove through Joy Road. You can see the buildings. You can see what it looks like over there. It's not good. That's where he's from. So that's number one. They got gangs over there, they got RTM, they got the hit squad over there. It's different bloods. It's different, it's a lot of shit going on over there on Joy Road. So that's where he's from. So number one. So when you grow up in an area like that and you're not a square, you know what I'm saying? And square is not a pejorative. Square just means you don't commit crimes. So if you're a square and you grow up in that type of environment, then whatever, you know what I mean? Like, but if you're outside, like T Grizzley was, then there's certain rules you got to play by. You know what I'm saying? T Grizzley went to prison as well. We have to remember that. His first song, First Day Out, was based on his release of prison. You know what I'm saying? So not only does he have prison ethics, but he also has street ethics. So typically that means under no circumstances, even the most extreme of circumstances, such as you witnessing a family member get killed, do you speak. So he could realistically just be really sticking by street morals and principles and not snitching. It could just be as simple as that. I'm pleading the fifth because I don't want to talk on the stand and, I don't want to be a snitch. Could just be as simple as that. Also, the story, I have a little bit more insight now that I know where it happened. Because it didn't happen on Joy Road. It happened on the east side on the street called 3 Mile Drive, which is like it's a little tiny cul-de-sac street. It's not even technically a mile road. You know how we have 6 Mile, 7 Mile, 8 Mile, all the way up. 3 Mile Drive just happens to be called that. It's not actually a mile road. It's just in a neighborhood off of Mack Avenue, right? The reason I know the street so well is because back in the day, I used to be over there a lot, right? My homeboy Gary stayed over there. He has a house over there. Or I don't know if he still does. Probably not now, but that he grew up on that street. So I know that street very well. Now, T Grizzly's story kind of got mixed up in the media, and this is something I got to explain about Detroit as a whole. Nobody uses the front door in Detroit. Nobody.
Yeah,
Nobody
facts.
uses the front door. Everyone uses the side door. That's just a thing. And the way that the houses are built in Detroit, the driveway goes on the side of your house and it goes into your backyard, typically where your garage is. So your driveway pulls up to the side door, basically. In the vast majority of houses in Detroit, this is how they're built. So keep that in mind, and then also keep in mind the fact that it is nighttime, right? So he said, this is his story. He says he gets out the car. They're going to go visit his cousin for a minute. She doesn't want to get out the car because, she's more like, I don't want to sit on people's dirty couches and blah, that kind of thing. Because it's like a bachelor pad and they live in the hood. Yeah. So T's like, all right, I'm going to go in there for a little bit. I'll be right back. She stays in the car. So where everybody gets the story fucked up is they think he was on the front porch ringing the doorbell waiting for his cousin. And then the shooters ran up, shot his auntie, and got off, and he saw everything, and it just isn't saying anything. That is in all likelihood not what happened. He was probably at the side door on the side of the house. The car's in the front of the house, so you can't necessarily get a good, visual of what's going on directly in front of the house. So if somebody were to pull up, because according to the story, they opened up the passenger door where T was sitting, and he wasn't sitting there, because it's tinted out windows and it's nighttime. So allegedly, they pull open the door. They see that T's not there, but his aunt's sitting there. So then they shoot her 8 times. She dies at the hospital. T hears the gunshots from inside the crib. Him and his cousin go outside with Blick, and the car's gone because the driver drove her to the hospital. right? So he didn't know what was going on at first. He just came outside like, damn, they left me. That's fucked up. I heard shots and they ain't even tell me. Like, if shit's hot over here, then you should have let me know. So, you know what I'm saying? That's what he was thinking at first. And then he said his driver called him and said what happened. They're at the hospital and then she passed. So that's his story. All of that is plausible on its face. But there's photos of the alleged killer and T Grizzley together. I think the nigga was at his wedding, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, something crazy like that.
There's lyrics in the song that T Grizzley dropped right after his aunt's death where he says, "We were so close, people thought we had a love life." So that's a weird lyric by itself, but now with all this other shit coming out, it's like, oh, wait, was that like a mini confession? Because here's the street rumors going on. One rumor is that she stole money from him, and so he had her backdoored. The other rumor, which that line sort of alludes more to, is that they had a relationship and she accidentally got pregnant.
Her and T.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, I will also explain this. This is not his blood-related aunt. This is either his uncle's wife or fiance, or maybe even just long-term girlfriend, who he called his aunt. They were not blood-related. The uncle who she was in a relationship with is in prison and has been locked up this whole time. There are Instagram comments on several of her pictures that people have found where T Grizzley is basically flirting with her in the comments. Like, she said something to the effect of, she said something alluding to being in a relationship or being with a dude or something like that. Or how she's independent, she doesn't need a man or some shit like that. But T Grizzley in the comments was like, well, you don't need one anyway, or something like that, implying like, I'm right here, what you need them for. It was one of those weird things. And then, like, there's a lot of just little weird shit like that. So the rumor is that he got her pregnant and that, you know, that was obviously going to be crazy because he's married. He has children. That's his uncle's wife, who they have children. So, you know, he's fucking his little cousin's mom.
Wow.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, right.
But this is the rumors. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying T Grizzley did that, but that is the rumors. So that's why all of this is super messy. And then to get back to what Eric said about the Instagram live, that shit just made him look guilty, because when you're talking like this the whole time and you scratching like this and you can't look at the camera, that's not even looking somebody in the eye. Like, I'm looking at the camera right now. I'm not looking at any of you in your eye, but I can't even do that. And I'm scratching and looking all nervous, and that shit don't look right, bro. Why'd you drop that live after court? You should have just said nothing and let the rumors be what they are and then let them die, because that's what rumors do unless you put fuel on them.
He got too nervous after the court situation.
Why are you nervous?
Right, especially if he's pleading the fifth.
You shouldn't be since you pled the fifth.
This is what I'm saying. So it's like, there's a lot of questions. I'm not surprised he took the fifth. Just because, again, rapper shit, he is from Detroit to a degree. We still really hold that to a thing. Like, there's a T's man, Sada Baby, right? He had a big homie that's from his gang who was rapping and everything. And they was in so many videos together. They were on so many songs together. Sada loved this nigga. Paperwork came out. He told on like 69 people to get out of prison. You ain't seen that nigga with Sada no more. This nigga hasn't been on Instagram at all no more. None of that shit. And even Sada just recently did an interview and he was like, I still got love for that nigga, but he can't be around me. Like, you told on everybody. Like, you broke one of the first street rules that you taught me.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, we still really don't tolerate it in Detroit for real like that. I mean, even with the Big Meech thing that Marcus brought up, we love Big Meech in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? He was the guy. He was our version of Pablo Escobar or Rick Ross or, you know, Supreme and them in New York and Frank Lucas and all that. That was our version of that, was Big Meech. And so, yeah, he was doing crime. He was doing illegal shit, but he also connected a bunch of Bloods and Crips all over America who would have otherwise had beef. They were all getting money together, partying together, hanging out. That wouldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of positive that came from that movement also. But with all that being said, the snitch jacket thing came out. 50 put fire on it. It seems like it's potentially credible enough. You don't really hear about Big Meech now. People don't really talk about him. You know what I'm saying? Even in Detroit, like the people I fuck with, they don't be bringing his name up like that. So it's like in certain places, that shit still is very frowned upon. So I do feel like him being a Detroit rapper and actually, like I said, going to prison, he potentially really just is one of the last ones who legitimately has street morals and is like, I can't talk to y'all about this. I have to go get my get back on my own or leave it alone. Those are the only options. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. To a real street nigga, those are the only choices. I either just leave the shit alone and just eat it, take it on the chin. Oh, well, I took a L. Or you get some get back. But you don't
that's
go
about
on a
it.
stand and say, yeah, that nigga killed my aunt. You definitely don't do that. Not if you're a real street nigga.
Got it. All right.
So,
That makes a lot more sense now, for sure. But yeah, I think it's definitely going to be tricky because now, like, because if he does want to do it on his own, if he does want to go and do street justice, it's not like he doesn't have a giant magnifying glass from the prosecutors. You know, I'm sure that they're on his ass.
and everybody around this nigga, I just want to bring this up too. Not only has he been to prison, his brother has done multiple sentences. His younger brother, mind you. His brother's younger than him. He's in prison right now. He got out, dropped a video, and then went right back to prison. His mom just recently got out of prison not that long ago.
Jeez.
Again, the uncle's in prison. You know, so it's like everybody in this nigga's family are prison niggas. So like the whole not snitching thing really might be just deeply ingrained in this nigga. Like I really feel like people aren't taking that into account because people rap about not snitching all the time or whatever, but they're rarely in a situation where they would have to do that or choose not to. So when you see it, it looks crazy because most of these niggas listening to rap are civilians. They're gonna too. You know what I'm saying? Like these aren't street people that's like, look at the concerts of anybody. Look at the crowd. You think those are a bunch of goons? Nah. Those are a bunch of people who will fucking tell on you. You know what I'm saying? So they're looking at T Grizzley like, yeah, we like your raps, but why aren't you telling? That's crazy to us.
Yeah.
But to street niggas, it's like, no, it's crazy that he even got on the stand in the first place. Like, why are you even up there, nigga? That's number one. And then number two, if you are up there, yeah, plead the fifth on everything. Don't say shit.
I was gonna say a nigga can get subpoenaed at any time. I don't know how you could avoid that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you got good lawyers, you know, you can probably get out of anything, but
maybe. Who knows?
There's a few of them niggas in the Diddy trial that got called to testify and they didn't. And then they popped back up after the verdict and shit. It was like, oh, where you been?
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a very good point. Well, yeah, well, let us know what you guys think in the comments. I mean, this is a crazy case. We'll have to see what happens because now without T Grizzley saying anything, I feel like it's going to be harder for the prosecutors to build motive and a timeline and all of that. So yeah, this is about to be very interesting. But let us know what you guys think in the comments. Okay, remember, hit that subscribe button. Check us out every single Monday for a new episode on Ethos Media Network on the YouTube channel. Okay, so make sure you guys follow us there and check out all the other shows. We also have a Patreon, so check us out at Ethos Media Network on Patreon, and make sure you are here for the next one. This is Bar Exam. We hope that you had a great time watching it, just as much as we had creating it for you. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, y'all.
Peace.